Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. We will go into the invocation, and then straight from the invocation, we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for loving us, even though we don't deserve it. We pray that you will guide us tonight, give us wisdom to make the right decisions. We know that you will ordain government. Just ask your blessings on our community, everyone here. Guide us in the council. Christ our name.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we call roll, I do want to point out that Mayor Herndon is unable to be here tonight. The weather, and also his grandchild is as well. So if you will, please keep them in your thoughts and prayers this evening. But Mayor Herndon is watching live from our social media broadcast, and I'm sure if he has anything, he will be letting someone know. But he did want everybody to know that he would not be here, and if you would, once again, keep him and his grandchild in your thoughts and prayers. Ms. Webb, will you call roll, please?
Councilwoman Bobo.
Present.
Councilman Washington.
Here.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Here.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Here.
President Hogg.
Here. Item 4 is presentations. We have no presentations tonight. Item 5 is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
Move.
That's a motion by Councilman Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Dykes. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. Item 6 is visitors to address the council. We have one member that has signed up tonight, Mr. Harris Cornett, in regards to the rezoning of Greenbrier property. Cornett, are you here tonight? I'm here. Okay. If you would, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and also be advised that you will have 3 minutes to speak to address the council. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me come before you. My name is Harris Cornett. I live at 602 Greenbrier Boulevard. It's right up against the wall to the property that is being considered for rezoning. I represent the great majority of the Greenbrier Place residents who stand in opposition to changing the zoning of the property just north of our subdivision. We have no objection to the property being developed as it is currently zoned. Northport has a long-range land use program put in place in 2007, and all of the area was zoned residential. If you make this area office institutional, as is being proposed today, you will be contributing to a potentially serious traffic congestion problem at the entrance to our neighborhood. 2 little stop signs is not going to help that much. And a large swatch of the pines up behind my house will have to be cut down in order to put these new office buildings, and don't forget the parking lots. This is going to cause some water problems, but they have said that they would put a drainage pool there that would help to some extent. But remember, if more and more people move in there, make it office institutional, you're going to have the whole area fill up, and it's going to cause serious problems. I live in an area that on Saturday when it rained, it was on CBS News yesterday, how the rains in Tuscaloosa flooded the streets and one man was killed. And I want you to know water just gushed down from that area onto my backyard. You'll have to cut down a large swatch of the pine trees, and don't forget the parking lots. I've said that. Scariest thing is if you permit one, you're gonna have others that wanna come in there, and you're just gonna have a whole lot of office institutions in an area that your own long-range plan called for it to be residential. It would be a beautiful place to build a house. I wish I had a little more money. Most importantly, you'll be violating your own long-range land use plan, and I beg you not to do this. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. This item on your agenda does come with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. This will also require a public hearing to be held before adoption.
Councilwoman Bobo,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes,
Yes.
President Hogg.
Northeast of Flatwoods Baptist Church and south of 52nd Avenue. Ms. Ram.
Yes, sir. This item also comes with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission, and a public hearing is also required.
Okay. I will open the floor for a public hearing. Is there any member in the audience that would like to come and speak for or against this agenda item? Okay. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Is there a member of council that would like to move to approve this second reading for rezoning of approximately 7.5 acres located on the eastern side of 70th Avenue, northeast of Flatwoods Baptist Church and south of 52nd Street?
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilwoman Bobo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Washington. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes,
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. Item 7A3 is a second reading of a rezoning of approximately 5 acres located adjacent to and north of Greenbrier subdivision. Ms. Ram.
Yes, sir. Golden Retriever Partnership is requesting this rezoning. It is for Lot 3 of Greenbrier Place. It does consist of 5 acres and is located adjacent to and north of Greenbrier subdivision. The property is currently zoned RS1. However, when it was first developed, the property was zoned as a planned unit development. And as a part of that zoning, the City Council and the Planning Commission recommended to the City Council, and the City Council approved a general development plan for that neighborhood. In that general development plan, this property that we're talking about tonight was listed as C3 commercial and with a specific use for mini storage. The current owner is requesting a rezoning from RS1 to office institutional. And I believe they're here tonight, and they may have a short presentation to show you exactly the proposed development. This zone that they are proposing is more restrictive than what was approved on that general development plan. This does come with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission and will require a public hearing.
Okay. So what you're saying is by doing this from RS1, here, this is actually more restrictive than the C3 that would allow mini storages to be put behind.
Yes,
the
as
neighborhood.
it stands right now, if the developer wanted to build the mini storage, there would be no further vote from this body. They would submit construction plans to the city staff, and then we would go through that process. That is, the office institutional zoning that they are requesting is more restrictive than what was approved on that master plan.
Okay. And this calls for a public hearing as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, I will open the floor for a public hearing. If there's someone here to speak for or against this project, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and if there's more than one person that is for this or against this, if you would, please have one spokesman so we're not duplicating the same things over and over again tonight. So, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. I'm Jason Walker with TTL, 2890 Rice Mine Road Northeast, Tuscaloosa, representing Golden Retriever Partners, which is the Plott family, John Plott, and Mike Ellis here tonight. A few things, we'll go quickly through this, and we can come back and reference it as we need to for any questions, especially if there's questions from the neighborhood and you want us to come back up, we can speak to those. But as Ms. Ram mentioned, this was a copy of the original master plan for the development developed by the Plott partnership, and shows the existing Greenbrier subdivision similar to its configuration now. And then the property to the north that's kind of long and rectangular would be the proposed mini storage that was proposed as part of that master plan at the time. So again, at the time you put forward a plan you think was the highest and best use, and maybe back then there was a need for mini storage in Northport, but there's definitely not one now, and not the highest and best use compared to what's happened in the area from a medical development complex standpoint. That's just a little zoom up on that same area that shows a configuration of the units, and it's kind of a circular pattern, which is basically the same footprint as what is being proposed now for the medical office complex. The topo is naturally flat, kind of up on the hill. There's a side slope. Most of the site now has come back up in pines, but there's a side slope that still would be planned to be retained. No grading performed, no clearing or anything on that slope. So there's some existing buffer that would be retained from a natural standpoint, and exceeds the required distance in terms of buffer. The elevation, you know, there's probably some pros and cons. I think there's a net pro to the fact that it is elevated and within the pine kind of thicket back up there that's offset and vertically distanced enough to give you that much more buffer from the existing residential. Another zoom up of that particular area that shows 5 proposed buildings, of which Mike Ellis can speak to a little bit in terms of the development plan and the contents of the buildings being mainly medical and professional office space. But the drainage for sure from the south side, the lower end of that drawing, flowing to the west, to the left on that drawing, and over to that kind of green square shape, which would be a detention basin, and then flowing to the north. So again, you know, as engineers, you're always designing for plan A, B, and C, and these rains we've seen like this weekend, pretty dramatic. That's exceeding, even in the city limits of Tuscaloosa, it would exceed these occurrence events that you usually design to. In this case, again, the fail-safe of the water being sheet draining down these parking lots and over to that west side, water does have to go somewhere. It's detained in this basin, and then in an overflow situation would actually even go north. So that's not to say there wouldn't still be water that hits these hillsides and comes down, and we've met with the neighborhood. We had a good meeting, we felt like, at the time, and that wasn't all the residents, but we felt like a representative group of the residents explained this in detail, went through it, and we think there's a net benefit in terms of drainage because we're physically going to be cutting that water off and making it go to the north. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mike Ellis, and he can, unless you have any questions from a site standpoint, I'd be happy to answer those.
We have a few reference buildings that kind of illustrate what we've got in mind for this facility. We do see it as medical. This is a dentist's office here in Northport. Again, we see brick veneer, and again, a very high quality look. Another dentist office here, orthodontist office. We see a great need for this location, just as a success along Watermelon Road has really created a lot of medical opportunities there. We see that these are examples of buildings that we've designed in this community and also in Tuscaloosa. This is a professional office building as well that we've completed. And again, we've got illustrations here that would show what we would see as the Greenbrier Professional Office Building. Again, a very high quality white brick, dark trim, again, creating opportunities to bring some businesses here on this property. And as Jason was saying, we did meet with Homeowners Association. There was 8 members there that basically addressed all of their approximately 14 items that they had given to Ms. Ram and the city. We had a great discussion for about an hour and a half, and again, we're going to work as a good neighbor to satisfy their needs. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Is there anyone else?
I would like to speak in opposition.
Okay, if you would, please state
My
your name
name's
and address for the
Patricia
record.
Goff, Goff. I
Okay.
live at 601 Greenbrier Drive. I've lived there since 2005. The majority of my neighbors are not in favor of this. This is a residential neighborhood. We would like for you to uphold our neighborhood. And this property does not have access directly from Watermelon Road. You have to come through and go up, and it will be adjacent to 13 homes. Mr. Cornett's house is one of those. It's just, we're gonna look up the hill if this happens, and we will see, businesses up on the hill. We've got them in front of us, and we knew that when we bought our property. That was there. We knew that that was zoned C3. We didn't plan on it encroaching up there on the hill. It is zoned RS1. We think that that is the best and highest use for that property. Thank you.
Ms. Goff, as we discussed earlier, would you think that the mini storage would be a better?
I would accept mini storage. Yes, I will accept mini storage.
You would rather see mini storage?
I would
than-
rather have
Okay.
mini storage, but I would prefer that it be what the legal notice said it was when it was published in the newspaper, RS1.
Thank you, Ms. Goff. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Doug Dean. I live at 912 Greenbrier Boulevard. I am one of the members of the committee that met with Mr. Ellis. It was a productive meeting. He did address all our concerns. I think we're better off with his project, because if you leave it at residential, who knows that somebody could come in there and build low-end residential homes and devalue our property. Certainly, we would not want mini storage up there, as the comings and goings at 24 hours a day would be very disruptive. And my house is the first house in the neighborhood, so all that traffic's going to go by my house no matter what's up there. But ideally, or what I really wanted to say is that our meeting was productive with Mr. Ellis, and we support what he's doing.
I do think you make a good point about the timing. At least with the office institutional, it would be during the normal work hours, and anything else could be at any time of the day or night. So that's definitely something to consider. So thank you for speaking. Absolutely.
I'm wondering, because I know that when we heard this in the planning and zoning commission, one of the big things that stood out to me was that nothing's ever going to be guaranteed, but with the rains, especially as we've experienced them over the past couple of weeks or over the past month, thinking this is a better idea have a lot to do with the drainage retention pond that is guaranteed to be coming from all this development that would be guaranteed from any other kind of development, or what were the things that stood out to you the most about why this is a good idea?
I think Mr. Ellis's plan is a much better plan for drainage than what somebody else might do. We can't address what somebody would do if they built low-level homes or if they built storage up there. There is a drainage problem, And it's not just on the north and west end, it's on the east end and the south end too. Saturday when the heavy rain, there was a waterfall coming into my yard. But it is what it is. But the biggest problem I think everybody has is the traffic. And that's going to have to be addressed somehow.
Right. I do know that we have some various projects that are coming up with Watermelon Road being resurfaced again, and there will be traffic studies at that point that will, be done at that time to see if there's anything else that should be done. So I do think that's a positive as well. Anything else?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for speaking. Yes, sir. If you will, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Shane Merritt. I live at 610 Old White Lane. I just wanted to speak out against this, and I also wanted to make it known the committee that was referenced does not necessarily represent the majority of Greenbrier homeowners. In fact, most homeowners have not even been briefed in entirety on what was discussed in that committee meeting. I'd also like to point out that, yes, maybe you're doing a traffic study, but once you change the zoning and you let construction start, we're stuck with that traffic unless you allocate funds and find a way to change that traffic problem. I would respectfully request that at least delay until you've done that study. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I will close the public hearing. Is there any member of council that would like to add anything before we go to a vote?
Mr. President, I would like to make a few comments.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, Ms. Webb, our city administrator, Ms. Tubbs, city engineer, Ms. Ram, the planning director, and I met with a group from Greenbrier. It's a different group, I think. Former president of the HOA was in the group. They expressed concern about having good neighbors and gave us a list of concerns from residents in the subdivision. These concerns were sent to TTL and Mr. Ellis, the architect, for this project. They in turn reviewed the list. They continued to plan the office suites, and they said up front that they would be happy to meet with residents along as they were developing these plans. There were two major concerns expressed in the meeting. The first was the water drainage from the area into Greenbrier. I met with Mr. Ellis, architect and representative from TTL, and reviewed the plans. Plan to have the roof, gutter system, and paved area all directing water into the retention pond located in the northwest section of the 5-acre plot. In addition, they have a buffer area plan with trees, I believe it's 20 feet across, between the offices and Greenbrier to further deter water. They said we can't guarantee that no water will drain into the Greenbrier area, but no more than is currently draining, we can assure. Second concern was the traffic and entrance into Greenbrier area, which includes the traffic through Greenbrier in search of doctor's offices. Ms. Tubbs, our city engineer, has given this concern much thought and is developing a plan to alleviate most of the problems. Ms. Tubbs, could you please give us a brief review?
Yes, sir. From what I understand from that meeting that you referenced, traffic and also not being able to find the doctor's offices, I think that many of the residents have issues now with cars coming into the neighborhood. So what we would like to do is add some signage to make it much more clear on where the neighborhood begins and where the offices are currently. We also have a project that we're working through the MPO to resurface and look at some intersection improvements on Watermelon Road. At that time, when the road will be resurfaced, it'll also be restriped. So we will do, during that process, we will do a traffic study and determine if there's any lane configurations that may need to be changed during that process. We can also look to see if there's any traffic control measures that may need to be added.
Okay.
Property is currently zoned RS1. The petitioner is requesting office institutional zoning. Previous development plan approved by the City Council in 2002 designated this site as commercial property with a specific use of mini storage. Mini storage, which is much more invasive, is on the approved master plan which existed when the residents built or bought their homes. The proposed rezoning to office institutional is more restrictive than the original development plan. Apparently, no interest has been noted for residential home construction in this area during this 20-year period. Watermelon Road is basically a commercial corridor now. Something will be built on this property with the growth we are experiencing in Northport. I hope that it's not many storage buildings. We have so many now. Wanted to make those comments.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Hinton. Anyone else from the council that would like to add anything?
President Hogg, I will say, as a resident of Huntington Place with many storages behind my neighborhood, I would much rather see a development by Mr. Ellis behind my home.
Okay. Thank you for that. This time, I will ask the council if anyone would like to move to approve or deny this rezoning of approximately 5 acres located adjacent to and north of Greenbrier subdivision.
So moved.
Is that a motion to approve or deny? Okay, motion to approve. Councilman Hinton, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bobo. Ms. Webb, if you'll call roll, please.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
President Hogg?
Yes. Item 7A4 is a second reading of an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2022 general fund budget. Mr. McGee.
Yes, Mr. President, we are presenting our second reading of the general fund budget, as well as the next item, which will be the water and sewer fund operating budget. It comes from with a favorable recommendation from the Finance Committee, which met earlier today. It's just under $37.5 million general fund operating budget, just over a $10.7 million water and sewer fund budget. And I know I combined those. I hope that's okay. I will go into any particular details you would care for me to address now, but we would ask that you approve each of those tonight.
Okay. Anybody have anything they would like to add? Ms. Webb?
Happy to say that we are timely in our adoption of a budget, potential adoption.
I was going to say that.
I don't want to be presumptuous, but we at least have it before you in a timely manner where we can operate in a very fiscally responsible way, knowing what our plans are for the upcoming fiscal year.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to sound like a broken record. But I too, very happy to see that this is done in a timely manner, as well as the Finance Committee and staff are working very hard to put together a fiscally responsible and conservative operating budget. What we see in our budget going forward, I think this is definitely something that we will grow with, and there's a lot of things that we can do over the next fiscal year. So appreciate everyone's hard work on that. Anybody have anything else? If not, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2022 general fund operating budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bobo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
And President Hogg?
Yes. 7A5 is the second reading of an ordinance adopting fiscal year 2022 water and sewer budget. Mr. McGee, I know you already stated on that, so is there anything else that you want to
Nothing
add?
I'd like to add.
Okay. Once again, very glad to see that as well. I think it is very fiscally responsible and conservative, and I think it's a very good operational budget. Any member of council like to add anything else to that? All right, is there a member of council that would like to move to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilwoman Bobo. Is there a second?
Second.
by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
President Hogg?
Yes. 7A6 is the second reading of a permanent resolution accepting maintenance for municipal public improvements for property located at Kenneth Walker Subdivision, 9th Street. Ms. Tubbs.
Yes, sir. Is there any additional questions?
There is none. Any member of council that would like to move to approve this resolution? That's a motion by Councilman Hinton. Is there a second?
Second.
By Councilman Washington. Ms. Webb, if you'll call roll, please.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
President Hogg?
Yes. 7A7 is the second reading of an ordinance accepting speed table criteria and request process. Ms. Tubbs.
Yes, sir. This is the second reading for this criterion request. If this is approved tonight, we do have several requests that, that y'all have provided to me and citizens has as well. We will begin to process those. Yes, Ms. Dykes. We will begin to process those, meeting this criteria if approved.
Okay.
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilwoman Dykes. Is there a second?
Second.
By Councilman Washington. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
President Hogg?
Yes. 8A1 is the first reading of an ordinance to provide for the issuance by the city's General Obligation Warrant Series 2021A and the Taxable General Obligation Warrant Series 2021B. Ms. Webb.
Yes, sir. As you all are aware, we have been going through a bond refinancing process, which led to our upgrade on our bond rating. This is a completion of the sale, and with this, we have realized upfront savings of $2.32 million. With this, you have allocated the upfront savings to as match money for several projects across the city: Charlie Shirley Road, Watermelon Road, and Main Avenue being the three designated. This is a little more than what we originally anticipated. We're very glad to see these additional savings. There's no extension of time on these bonds, nor additional biannual payments. So we have been able to take advantage of great interest rates at this point. Realize a substantial savings.
Absolutely. Do we need to suspend the rules in order to do this tonight? Okay. I will move to suspend the rules in order to immediately consider authorizing the issuance of the General Obligation Warrant Series 2021A and Series 2021B. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
President Hogg?
Yes. We are under suspension of rules. Under suspension of rules, I would like to move to adopt the ordinance authorizing the issuance of General Obligation Warrants Series 2021A and Series 2021B. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bobo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes?
Yes.
President Hogg?
Yes. 8B1 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute agency funding contracts. Ms. Webb.
Sir, as part of your budget that you just adopted, you have allocated a little over $900,000 for various agencies that serve the citizens of Northport. This will be our first time in requiring agency funding contracts with those agencies that are receiving funding from the city, which requires specific services and reporting to the city so that you all know how the money that you've allocated is actually being spent by the agency.
Great. I do want to add to that for everybody to know that this $900,000 is a 35% overall increase in agency funding expense this year. So 35% more than what we were able to do last year. So that's a big difference. A lot of times we get asked about Tuscaloosa Park and Recreation Authority. We get asked a lot about the Tuscaloosa Public Library. I'm happy to report that Tuscaloosa Library, we are seeing a 25% increase from last year for the library. And for para, we are increasing our contribution by 51%. So 25% to the library, 51% to para, and it's a 35% overall increase in our budget to outside agency funding. So once again, I want to thank the Finance Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Bobo and Councilman Hinton, and of course the staff for their hard work in our budget to be able to do these things for our agency funding partners. So thank you for that. Is there a motion by council that would like to move to adopt this resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute agency funding contracts for the fiscal year 2022 budget year and sign any and all other documents pertaining to said contracts?
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilwoman Bobo. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Washington. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
And President Hogg.
Yes. 8B2 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter a microwave radio use agreement with Bibb County Sheriff's Office on behalf of the Northport Police Department. Ms. Webb.
Yes, sir. This comes as a request from our police department and will allow for redundancy and better service for our constituency, and will also assist a neighboring county. If you have additional questions, we'll ask.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. I'll move to adopt this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Washington. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. AB3 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Metro Animal Shelter for animal shelter services. Ms. Webb.
Yes, sir. This is a 3-year contract that has just been rebid as a collaborative effort between the city of Northport, the city of Tuscaloosa, and Tuscaloosa County. In this agreement, our increase our portion of the contract will increase to 14%, which is based on our population. And we have budgeted in the previously adopted budget for the amount necessary for the Metro Animal Shelter. So this will allow us to have a funding agreement with our animal shelter operator.
Yes, ma'am. This is a very good collaborative effort with the city of Tuscaloosa and Tuscaloosa County, and I really like the way we work together on this and have for numerous years. So, very good way of doing things. I will move to approve this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
That's a second by Councilwoman Dykes. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
And President Hogg.
Yes. AB4 is a resolution authorizing Northport Police Department to participate in the Community Traffic Safety Program grant.
This is a traffic grant in which we receive monies from the federal government for traffic enforcement. It's usually anywhere from $70,000 to $80,000 a year.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments? All right. Is there a member of council that would like to move to approve this resolution?
So moved.
All right, that's a motion by Councilwoman Dykes and a second by Councilman Washington. Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. AB5 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with Duncan Coker Associates, PC, to repair the sinkhole on City Hall property. Ms. Tubbs.
Yes, sir. This is to enter in a contract with Dunker and Coker Associates. This also includes survey and geotechnical work needed to, and also regain prices from contractors to correct the sinkhole issue we have.
Absolutely. I'll make that motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. 8B6 is a resolution awarding bid file 21-05, furnishing chlorine. Mr. Webb.
Yes, President Hogg, this is our yearly bid for chlorine to use at our water plant for disinfection of water.
Okay. Any member of council have any questions or comments? All right, would anyone like to move to approve this resolution? That's a motion by Councilman Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
By Councilwoman Dykes. Ms. Webb, call roll, please.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. 8B7 is a resolution requesting reimbursement from Tickerick for preliminary engineering work on Charlie Shirley Road, Highway 69 intersection. Ms. Tubbs.
Yes, sir. This is a project that has been just recently, we've entered into a funding agreement with the MPO. Previously, the city of Northport has encountered $131,884 for this project for preliminary engineering. We are requesting that TCRIC reimburse us those dollars, as this will be funded through the MPO and TCRIC.
Okay. I'll make the motion to approve that resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Washington. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. 8C is our consent agenda. Consent agenda ranges from minutes, bill listings, travel and training, and PO requisitions. Is there a member of council that would like to move to approve the consent agenda as printed?
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilman Hinton and a second by Councilwoman Bobo. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Councilwoman Bobo.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Pro Tem Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Yes.
President Hogg.
Yes. Item 9 is reports to special committees of council. If there's a member of council that would like to give an update on their respective committee. Item 10 is public hearings. We have none. Item 11 is city administrator's business. Ms. Webb.
I have no additional items today.
Okay. Item 12 is departmental business. We have none. And then item 13 is mayor and council members' business. As I stated earlier, Mayor Herndon was very sad he could not be here. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and also his grandchild as well. District 1, Councilwoman Bobo.
I have no additional business, just would like to thank our staff and Ms. Webb for all of the hard work with the budget, because it was very, like we have already said, conservative but realistic and on time.
Okay. District 2, Councilman Washington.
Yes, I'd like to, just to put this out here. Down in District 2 at the Robert Hassan Community Center, we'll be doing free tutoring for youth in partnership with Academics in Motion. Also, the LIFT program from the Culver House School of Accountancy. Have tutoring starting September the 21st. That's tomorrow and Thursday at 6:30. Anybody you know who's in need of tutoring or within the city of Northport, Tuscaloosa County, anybody that walk through the door, get an opportunity to get tutored.
What age group is it? All age?
High school.
Just high school? Oh, through high school.
High school.
Okay. So elementary through high school. Okay. Anything else? Okay, District 3, Pro Tem Hinton.
Just pleased with our budgets. I think they're very conservative. I think staff's done a good job as well, pulling all this together this quickly. And, thank you for that.
Thank you. And District 4, Councilwoman Dykes.
Nothing tonight.
Under my business, this does not have anything to do with the District 5, but I do want to give an update on the NRDA. That is the Northport Redevelopment Authority. A while back, we had granted some money for facade improvement program. and they have been diligently working to go through the applications that were submitted for the grant funding. Some highlights of that: they had 45 separate applications that was seeking over $675,000 worth of grant funding. We had only allocated 350. After the initial review of applications, the NRDA board is proud to inform the council that $140,000 worth of grant applications have been either approved outright or conditionally approved and awaiting various conditions. They are looking forward to providing the council with a complete and thorough presentation of the types of projects that will begin in the very near future. And they're very excited about continuing this program, and they look forward to making a public presentation with the council once the awards have been finalized and the memorandums of understanding have been entered into with the applicants receiving grants. So that's a very good thing coming from the NRDA to give us some information on where they stand with the facade improvement program. So very excited about that. And besides that, I don't have anything else except for adjournment. And we will call for a motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
That's second by Councilwoman Bobo. All in favor say yes.
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 Yes. All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen.